What's up, guys? Coming back at you with some kind of different content this time around. For those of you who haven't heard, last night, or I guess it would be yesterday maybe, in Lebanon, certain people's pagers and maybe cell phones exploded. And most of these pagers and cell phones were on these people's person. So I believe it's up to 3,000 injured, 8 killed. This is absolutely insane. It's not Ukraine content, which is, has been the main topic because that's where I have experience. But this is way too crazy not to talk about. Real quick, background on me. My name is Saxon. I went by Vegas in the International Legion. I'm currently in Ukraine as we speak. I moved here, and what else? I was a firefighter EMT in Texas before I came to Ukraine, joined the Legion. I was in the Legion for a handful of months, went to combat, went to the front line, whatever. That's me. Now, something to preface here is it looks like a lot of the blame of this attack, this cyber cell phone pager attack, is being put on Israel. Reason being is because they might talk about this in the video, and maybe I'm spoiling it all, but I've heard reports of people saying that some of the Hezbollah leadership, which is the militant group in Lebanon, some of the Hezbollah leadership switched to pagers to be less trackable by the IDF, I believe, and I think that's people are saying that's why the pagers were targeted. And these specific people were targeted. I don't know. This is still very brand new. This is the most recent news article or news story I could find on it. Some show in India. The video quality is shit, so don't blame me for that. Let's listen.
Welcome back. Let's get you updates from Lebanon as it's taken everyone by surprise. Something like this that has never been seen or heard before, where thousands of handheld pagers exploded almost simultaneously across the country. Even in parts of Syria, around 9 casualties that have been reported. Over 2,700 people have been injured. And even including when it comes to the Iranian ambassador, in what appears to be a sophisticated remote attack, many people who have been injured. This is being talked about as a massive security breach that is coming at a time when tensions have been growing across the Lebanon border.
What is this guy saying? I guess this is what I get for picking a Indian news source. So you can see in this first up here, watch at the very beginning, you see it. He's like loading some fruit or vegetables into a bag, and you see it explode in his pocket. It's really fast, but these things are like detonating. Like, I'm willing to say that's got the force of possibly a grenade. Watch this.
Heard before,
right here,
where thousands of handheld pagers exploded almost simultaneously across the country. Even in parts of Syria, around 9 casualties.
Same here on this one down here. I believe it's a guy that's standing over here.
Have been reported over.
He's out of the shot. There's a better shot. We'll find it. He's standing over here and it goes off.
These that have been reported over 27.
Crazy, dude. I mean, this is so fascinating to me. One reason being is because, like she said, we haven't really seen anything like this before. Maybe something like this has happened in the past, but it's definitely not public knowledge that technology and weapons like this exist.
I'm Austin Westfall. Live look at the Israel-Lebanon border. Militant group Hezbollah promised to retaliate against Israel after accusing it of detonating pagers across.
And yes, I'm in fucking light mode. Okay, I didn't even know you can make it into a dark mode. I'm old. All right, I don't barely know what I'm doing. All right, let's watch.
Across Lebanon on Tuesday, killing 9 people and wounding nearly 3,000 others, who included fighters and Iran's envoy to Beirut, Alon Burstein, standing by, as always, Alon. It's good to see you. Do you also do a double take when you first read this headline? Have you ever seen an attack of this nature before?
Good to see you, Austin. No, this is relatively unprecedented in the history of even counterterrorism. I mean, the level of intelligence that goes on around the world at any given moment in order to carry out counterinsurgency and counterterrorism operations. If we think of even the assassination of Ayman Zawahiri, the leader of Al-Qaeda, what it takes to know where he is, how he is. You had drone strikes and missiles that fired into his home in Afghanistan, killing only him on the balcony. The level of intelligence that has to go in There's intelligence going on all the time across all agencies in the world. And yet, something of this scale, the level of infiltration into an organization to deliver pagers, wait for them to be disseminated across thousands of different operatives, and then simultaneously.
This is interesting. Okay, I haven't heard this take yet. He's suggesting that the pagers were from Israel, right? Like, the IDF didn't like hack into everybody's personal pager and then make it explode through some software or something. It sounds like they gave out these booby trap, somehow gave them to the enemy, and they dispersed it amongst the Hezbollah leadership. Israel gave these booby trapped pagers to
detonate them. I mean, 3,000 were reportedly detonated out of seemingly 5,000 that could have been detonated. This is going to be not only a major tangible blow to Hezbollah, it is primarily also a psychological blow. Mm-hmm. This is going to cause a lot of seeming like supporters of Hezbollah within Lebanon, not necessarily operatives themselves, but people who might have gone along with it, to be fearful. If the IDF or the Mossad has the capability of doing this, who knows?
So smart, dude. I can't get over it. So if this is the case, let's say somehow the IDF was able to sabotage these pagers and then deliver them through some secret source, and it was disguised well enough that the Hezbollah leadership didn't know these pagers came from Israel, right? So the Hezbollah leadership, they're like, okay, we got a new thing, whatever, let's put it on. Let's say this is the case, right? It's a mass attack, right? You're taking out multiple people with very little, if any, collateral damage, right? Because all these things are on their person. So if these pagers were designed with like some kind of plastic charge, right? And they were designed to explode inwards into the body. Everybody knows, right? You hang a pager on a belt, or you stick it in your pocket. The plastic explosive is angled inwards. The collateral would be so low. I don't know if there has been collateral with this, because it looks like some of those explosions were pretty big. But so smart, dude. They're taking out so many people with as little collateral damage as possible. I don't know, man. This is next level warfare.
What else they have infiltrated. So in that sense, it's a major victory for the Mossad on this day.
Alon, let's play this out. This is a quick little video, and it's got a little bit of audio attached to it. We have, and I believe this shows one of the explosions taking place. Let's watch.
Viewer discretion advised. That wasn't that bad.
So it doesn't appear that it had audio, but nonetheless, this gives you an idea of what this is a quick little, got a little bit of audio attached to it. We have,
watch this guy above my
and I believe this shows one of the explosions taking place. Let's watch.
Smoked. Right? Looks like it's right
So
on
it doesn't appear that it had audio, but nonetheless, this gives you an idea of what we're talking about here. We also have video of some of the emergency response coming after these things exploded in people's pockets, in people's hands. Maybe this is something that's still being figured out alone, but how did Israel carry this out? We're talking about thousands of devices here. How did they do it? Do we know?
There's different reports that are coming out. Sky News in Arabic reported that these pagers were delivered to Hezbollah in the last several days. What we do know is that Hezbollah announced several weeks ago that in order to increase security, it was switching to these pager devices.
I've got someone here fixing the internet right now, so let's take this second to talk about it. So if Israel intercepted this message of Hezbollah talking about, hey, we're switching to pagers, right? Which I'm sure they did, because Israel's intelligence is incredible. If they intercepted this message, they thought, bingo, this is our opportunity. Let's booby trap some pagers, intercept the shipment or shipments of the original pagers, switch them out with the booby trapped ones, right? Bingo bango, we got a bunch of dead terrorists. All right, check this out.
To these pager devices, because these are one-way communications arrays. They allow the operatives to receive information but not send it back. that in theory increases the operative security because these don't have GPS tracking, right? If you can send a message back through cell networks, then your position can be tracked as opposed to these one-way trackers. So Hezbollah was starting to use these pagers recently. Sky News in Arabic reported that they received these pagers in the last several days. Hezbollah put out a different story. Hezbollah said that these pagers were received as part of a larger shipment already in the first months of the war. So we're talking about, at least 8 months ago, first months, not 10, 11 months ago. So that's what Hezbollah is saying. What we do, according to most reports at least, these pagers originated from Taiwan. It does appear that the Mossad managed to plant very, very small explosive devices within them along the way. According to, again, different reports, Wall Street Journal, New York Times, everyone's like putting out different things. According to most reports, the explosive devices were anywhere from 28 to 56 grams. That's very small, attached to the batteries. And what we know about how the detonations actually took place is that a message was sent to the pagers, according to at least the report in the New York Times.
So cool.
The message was message from Hezbollah High Command, and this caused the devices to heat up. Something was triggered within all the devices that the battery heated up exponentially, and this caused the detonation. What that was aimed seemingly to achieve, and according to some reports, it did achieve, was that people would take out the pager and look at it in order to see the message, and then there would be that detonation. The Al Hadath news network, that's a Saudi news network, is reporting that upwards of 500 Hezbollah operatives have lost their eyesight in this attack. So again, if we think of technically what that is people taking out, looking at the pager, and as a result then of that explosion, once again, not only is this a major tangible blow, that unto itself is a major psychological crippling blow to Hezbollah operatives. Seemingly, that was the attempt, right? It was not an attempt to decapitate Hezbollah, but it was an attempt to massively incapacitate a lot of its operatives in the field, likely in light of this ongoing escalation. And specifically in the last week, there's been a lot of escalatory rhetoric, which is likely why Israel, again, obviously Israel hasn't taken responsibility for it, but I think we can pretty much safely assume that it is Israel chose to carry this out at this moment.
Yeah, and just to lay it out nice and clearly, there really isn't anybody else that would do something like this. That's why so much has been focused on Israel in light of this. Of course, Iran's ambassador to Lebanon was slightly injured by one of these pagers. We're talking Iran's ambassador to Lebanon alone. Is Iran's ambassador to Lebanon supposed to be tied to Hezbollah? Does this implicate that he's tied to Hezbollah?
Unlike a lot of other militias throughout the Middle East, Iran and Hezbollah make absolutely no secret of their connections. Their connections are very public. There's lots of public photos of Hassan Nasrallah, the leader of Hezbollah, who was, photographed with the with Iran's top political ranks.
Okay, so we know this shit. He's just saying it's no secret. Hezbollah and Iran are buddy, and Iran pays for all of Hezbollah shit. They've shown it. It's been proven. It's very obvious. Iran, I think, attempts to hide some of these proxies that they fund, like the Houthis or Hamas.
Welcome back. Let's get...
Sorry. But still, everybody knows Iran's paying for them, too. Or supporting them. So, a couple things we learned from this. Number one, don't fuck with Israel. Right? And this kind of a cyber... I guess it would be a cyber attack because they sent a message to heat up that battery, which caused that explosive to go off, I'm assuming, right? Regardless, this is super new, very cool James Bond level style warfare. To me, this just shows how far ahead Israel is in technology and intelligence over Iran and their proxies. There is 0% of me that is going to give any empathy to terrorists and anybody in these terrorist groups. Houthis, Hezbollah, Hamas, Iran. Zero empathy for any of these guys that got hurt during this. They knew, they should have known the consequences of being a gosh dang terrorist when they signed up for it, right? So With that said, I don't want to hear any sob stories in the comments. I don't want to hear that shit. These guys had it coming, they just got it. And I hope they get more of it. Good shit to Israel. This is super cool. Let me know in the comments if you guys like this kind of content. I know it's different, it's kind of fast, but I don't know. This was just way too badass to not cover. We'll leave it at that. Love you guys. See you tomorrow.